Hey guys, it's Facebook Friday Live, and I'm super excited to be here today. I'm Melissa Costello, owner of Karma Chow. I'm a holistic nutritionist and transformational eating coach, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. I'm going to talk all about perfect eating and what that means. Oh my gosh, so many people come to me and tell me that they want to eat perfectly. And gosh, perfect eating, what does that even mean? I remember those days where I wanted to be perfect with my eating, and what that meant was that I was restricting myself all the time. Yeah, perfect eating means you're restricting yourself because, I mean, look, we all have an idea of what that is, but is it even realistic, and is it even sustainable? I hope you guys got to watch my live video with Tony Horton on Wednesday. We had so much fun. And I'm so excited to do our masterclass together. Hey, Rachel. Great to see you here. Hi, Wendy. Awesome. I'm so excited. I love when people tune in live. But Tony and I had such a wonderful conversation around food and the deeper issues with food. And, you know, there's a time and a place for everything. And I feel like, you know, in the fitness industry, that there are practices that are really supportive to people who are stuck or they don't know where to start, and you know, and sometimes it just gives people a kickstart to eat a certain way for a while. And so it was just so great to talk about all of that with Tony and how there are so many deeper layers with a lot of people when it comes to food. And that's why I wanted to talk today about perfect eating and what we think that is and how that can actually derail us and get us off track. So last night, I'll just share a quick story, but I went and played volleyball. I actually played volleyball in the morning, and then we had our advanced class in the evening. And I had a busy day, and although I did eat lunch, I had a veggie burger. It was so good. And I had a little snack before I went to volleyball. I was starving, like so hungry when we finished, because we work out hard and we're out there for a long time. And so I stopped at the grocery store on the way home at the health food store that's right up the street from my house, and I needed to get a couple things, but I was so hungry, right? What's the thing they always tell us? Don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry. And so I was walking down the aisles getting the things I needed, and I got some dinner for myself, and I went down the frozen food aisle because I get these actually really yummy soul veggie burgers, and they're all natural, and they're just grains and beans and veggies. And what was right behind me but all the ice cream. And I don't ever really eat ice cream, and if I do, it's coconut ice cream because I don't do dairy. That's just my own personal preference. But I turn around and I'm looking in the thing, and I'm like, gosh, that looks really good. I haven't had coconut ice cream in a really long time. I don't really ever crave it. I mean, I've gotten to a place where sugar's just it's not really something that is a strong pull for me anymore. It used to be really bad, but I've worked through that, through all of my deeper stuff with food and what I was really looking to get out of the sugar. So Rice Dream makes these like little whoopie pies that are like vanilla vegan ice cream, and there's 2 oatmeal cookies and like a chocolate coating. And I was like, I'm getting that. That looks good. And I didn't feel any guilt about it, but I was like, that looks really good. And you know what? Like, I never eat this stuff. So like, I'm going to eat it tonight because I really want it. And I'm starving. And like in the past, I would have gone to, in my brain, like, oh my God, I'm messing everything up. I'm, you know, screwing up my perfect eating all day. I did so great all day. And this is just going to mess everything up. And so that was like my mindset in the past, and feeling like, oh God, this is going to make me fat, or all these extra calories, because I think it was like 400 calories, which is a lot of calories, right? And so I don't ever calorie count, but just knowing like 400 calories is a lot of calories. And so anyway, I went home and ate my dinner, and then I was just so excited to eat this, you know, this little whoopie pie thing that was like vanilla ice cream with mint and chocolate and oatmeal cookies, and oh, it was so good. And I fully enjoyed it, like all of it. I fully enjoyed it. And so, and I just was, I love that I've gotten to the place where I'm just so okay with, if I want to have something like that, that I don't go into the tailspin that I used to go in, like that I messed everything up, that I have to start over tomorrow, that, you know, I got off track and I have to get back on track. Oh, so yummy. Yes, Rachel. It's a little hard for me to see because I'm far away from the phone. Anyway, but what did happen is in the middle of the night, I woke up with the worst stomach ache and total nausea. I actually thought I was going to vomit. I felt so awful. And I laid there and I tossed and turned, and this was like 3 a.m. and I just felt awful and like icky and achy and just, it was awful. And I thought I was going to throw up. And so after kind of laying there for like an hour, I got up and I'm like, I need to take some apple cider vinegar and water because that just immediately neutralizes and deacidifies everything. So I did that, and then it helped within 10 minutes. And I fell back to sleep, luckily, because I wasn't really sleeping that well because I was so uncomfortable. And I woke up this morning and I felt okay. I mean, I didn't feel fabulous, but I felt okay. But the difference was that in the past, what I would have done was woke up feeling so bad about myself, like I ruined everything. I'm such an idiot. Why did I do that? I know better, blah, blah, blah. I didn't do that. And what was awesome is that my body was telling me, like, it doesn't like that stuff. It doesn't like it. That's why I got nauseous and felt sick and it was uncomfortable. My body doesn't like it. And it doesn't mean I can't ever have it. I just know that I'm going to suffer the consequences of that. And so I'm sharing that with you because I want you to know that it is possible to get to a place where you don't feel like you ruined your whole diet, and that, if you eat one thing, that it's not going to wreck everything, and that in the bigger picture, in the bigger scheme of things, if you do it here and there, it's not a big deal, right? Because we all get into this mindset where like, I have to eat perfect all day or all week, and then the weekend comes and then we binge or we overeat, and then it's just not a healthy mindset to be in. And so I love that my body gave me the feedback it gave me. And I thought, I'm not going to do that again. And I did it from a place of like the way it made me feel versus my mental craziness around, God, I screwed up. I'm such a failure. I feel like crap about myself. So it was such an interesting thing to witness within myself of how much I've transformed and grown. And it is possible to get there and to really go through and come out the other side in terms of your suffering with food. And, and I wanted to talk about perfect eating today because I feel like the perfect eating, the idea of eating perfect, number one, does not exist. Perfection does not exist. So many of us have like the perfectionistic attitude, and we want to do everything perfectly. We want to show up perfectly. We want to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect employee, the perfect eater, the whatever it is, right? And it just creates so much suffering. It creates so much suffering. And I posted in my private food freedom group today, the question, would you rather be present or would you rather be perfect? Because when we're trying to be perfect, we're always living in this other state. It's like a future state. It's never really about being with ourselves and the way we are. And so, this whole idea of perfect eating is so black and white, and it doesn't allow for any room to move. It doesn't allow for any flexibility. And so instead of perfection, let's look for permission, right? Let's give ourselves permission, because what happens is that when we live in perfection and then we go off of perfection, we beat ourselves up. That's why I wanted to share that story of what I went through last night with you, and how I didn't beat myself other than I felt terrible. And I'm feeling so much better now, thank goodness. But, our bodies bounce back. But if we do that all the time, it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and then we just get into this spiral. So, I just want to say that there is a gray area with food. There needs to be a gray area with food. We need to give ourselves permission to enjoy and to allow ourselves to have things we love without feeling bad about it. So here's the thing about that. Most people are probably going, yeah, that's easy for you to say. And if I do that, I'm going to overeat and I'm going to go overboard and all that stuff and like gain a bunch of weight. But Here's the reason why you think that way. Because you have a judgment around the food that you're eating, or you have a judgment around yourself, and you've created a rule like that food's bad, I can't have it, which means I'm bad if I eat it. Or you've created some idea that, you know, if I eat that, I'll get completely off track. Or after you eat it, you feel like, why did I do that? I'm such an idiot. Why couldn't I just stay on track? I feel like such a failure, right? So there's so much judgment that comes along with it. And that's what keeps us stuck. That's what keeps us in the suffering. And so instead of perfection, how about permission? And when I say permission, I mean permission to enjoy, permission to eat something without the judgment. Because like I said last night, I ate that little rice stream whoopie pie without any judgment. I didn't even think, because it's pretty healthy. I mean, it doesn't really have any refined sugar. It has a very little amount of refined sugar in it. But like, it's pretty healthy. It's on the healthy side. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to have any backlash from this. But I haven't been eating any of that kind of stuff in months. And ever since I did my juice cleanse back in, I don't know, March. Yeah, March. And so I've been really clean. I've been really eating mostly only whole foods and a lot of raw and all that stuff. So like, I didn't think that I was going to have such a reaction to it. And so my body was telling me otherwise. And what that does is that gives me the feedback that I need to go, you know what, that doesn't really serve you. And so in this journey of really figuring out the way to eat and the way to feel good around food, it's like we have to give ourselves permission without the judgment. Because the judgment is what creates the suffering. And I don't want you to suffer with food anymore, or your weight, or, you know, what you put in your body. It's like, I want you to feel good. I want you to feel empowered. I want you to make choices that feel good. And so in my Empowered Eating Experience mini course, I talk about our bottom line foods and how, you know, there's certain foods in our life that we love, and they might not be that great for us, and that we would suffer if we gave them up, you know? And so I always say, pick your top three bottom line foods that are the foods that you really allow yourself to have and give yourself permission to have without guilt, without judgment, without shame, right? And that way you can have balance, and you can live more in the gray, and you can enjoy your life more. Because if we are constantly in this place where we're restricting ourselves, where we're trying to eat perfect, where, you know, we feel deprived, it is without a doubt going to derail you. It is without a doubt going to set you off and put you in a place where you will be vulnerable for binge eating, overeating, eating something that doesn't really work for you. Yes, Laura, your morning coffee. Awesome. I love it. That's your bottom line. Mine's my morning matcha, because oh my God, I love my matcha, and it makes me happy. And I wouldn't want to give it up, because like without it, I just feel like I'm going to be suffering and depriving myself, you know? And so like, but what I've really learned over the years is that as I've, as I've transitioned more through this process, my eat whatever I want has become so different than it used to be 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. Like, I eat whatever I want, but the difference now is that I respect my body. I don't self-abuse anymore. And so eating whatever I want is usually always a good choice, because that's what I do to respect myself. That's what my body needs. I really listen to my body. And it feels good. It doesn't feel like I'm ever deprived. It just doesn't. Like, I don't ever feel deprived. And I don't diet. I don't restrict. I just eat. Now I'm in a place where I eat what my body really wants. And yeah, I had the whoopie pie last night, and I was starving. And I'm like, I'm going to have it because I want it. And it was fine, other than it made me feel like crap. So I normally make my own ice cream at home, and I didn't have the time to do that, and my little ice cream maker thing is not in the freezer, and that takes 24 hours. So like, I went for the convenient and the quick, and although it was a healthy choice, it just didn't feel good in my body. So how can we find more gray with our eating? How can we not be so black and white? How can we get out of the perfectionistic mindset? Because that really keeps us stuck. And so my encouragement to you is pick those 3 bottom line foods that you can give yourself permission. And look, I mean, if you are someone who can give yourself permission at any time to enjoy something without the guilt, without the judgment, without feeling like you screwed up or you're a failure, which, to be honest, it takes time to get there in your head. You know, if you're someone that can do that, then great. But I don't want you to talk yourself into it. What I want you to do is pick your top bottom line foods, your top 3. And, you know, those are the foods that are necessarily not that great for you, that I want you to enjoy and have pleasure around. And because food is pleasurable, right? We're not meant to just eat and not enjoy it. I mean, it tastes good for a reason, right? Otherwise, we'd be taking pills like the Jetsons did. Hopefully all of you know who the Jetsons are. But like, it is meant to taste good. It's meant to be pleasurable. It's meant to nourish us. And so we need to enjoy it. And I think that, unfortunately, with the condition that, you know, the food is in our culture, it's become an addiction, because food is now crafted with the perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat, so that we crave it and so that we get addicted to it. And so if you have that addiction, it's hard to break. And, you know, and oftentimes that ends up where you overeat or you eat things that aren't great for you. And so that's really something to look at within yourself as well. Like, what are you really needing from that food that you feel addicted to? You know, because addiction is just really a distraction from ourselves. That's how I see it. Yes. Hi, Wendy. I'm so excited to see you soon. Yay, Wendy. Anyway, so, you know, so this is all just great stuff for you to think about, and how the perfectionistic eating really keeps us stuck in a vicious cycle. Can you be more in the gray? So look, Memorial Day weekend is here, right? And so are you going to go overboard and eat everything in sight? Are you going to restrict yourself in diet? Or are you going to allow yourself permission to be flexible, right? And to know, like, my body doesn't need me to eat a whole bag of chips, a hot dog, a hamburger, a this, a that, like all the things that we put in our body. Our bodies don't need it. We think we do, but our mindset creates, you know, that urgency, or thinking we need it, or we're not even paying attention and we're being really mindless about it. So just go into this weekend with the idea of permission and flexibility, and just being really in tune with your body, right? Because again, as a culture, it's like we've learned to really overeat and to eat way more than our bodies need. And I just want to share one more story before I go, because this was such an incredible story from one of my clients. And she recently completed my food-based cleanse, the 30-day Vital Life cleanse. And she, which is like caffeine-free, sugar-free, gluten-free, animal product-free, all of that. And she has struggled with some food stuff. And she posted in the group the other day and said she was at a meeting or at a workshop, and there was a plate of brownies or something in front of her. And she was looking at the brownies, like really, really wanting them. And, you know, they were just like right there. And through the practices of the cleanse and eating clean and coming off of that, and what I teach during my cleanse, she actually learned to stop and check in and go like, what am I feeling right now? And what's present here that's like making me want to eat these brownies? Because I'm not really hungry. Like, I'm not really, you know, I'm just being drawn to them, which is how food is, especially like gooey, chocolatey, yummy, sugary things. And so she was like, oh, I'm feeling anxiety. Like, she got to tune in to what she was actually feeling. She was feeling anxiety. And so she let herself feel the anxiety. She took a few breaths, and then she was like, okay, that's passed. And she was like, I still want to have the brownie anyway. And she said she ate it and took little tiny bites, and it lasted, and she savored it and enjoyed it, and it felt really good. And she just was like blown away by that experience, because in the past it was all about like, how fast can I eat this? And because I think the faster we eat something bad, it's almost like we have the guilt around it and the shame around it. So we think if we eat it faster, we're not going to feel those things, but that's not true. We still feel them. And so she actually savored the experience. She gave herself permission. She was flexible, and she, didn't judge the process. So that is really my encouragement to you moving forward as you go into this weekend and as you move forward in life. And also, join mine and Tony's masterclass called Getting Right with Your Food on June 8th. You can actually sign up right underneath the header on my Karma Chow page, right here on this page. You sign up right there, save your spot. It's going to be incredible. I mean, Tony Horton, you guys probably know him, P90X guy. He is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. He's so passionate about what he does. I am so passionate about what I do. And our conversation on Facebook Live on Wednesday was incredible. So you can scroll down and catch that video on this page as well. So much great information. And I love that he's really supporting this and wanting me to deliver my information to his people so that they know that there's more, and because so many of us have issues with food and we're not willing to admit it. So sign up for that. And I want you guys all to have a great, permissive, flexible, awesome weekend with your food and just in general with friends and family. And I'll see you guys here next week. And don't forget to register your email for that live masterclass with me and Tony on June 8th. It's a Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern or Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And it will be recorded, but I want you to be on live because we're going to be sharing something else really awesome. So thank you as always for joining me. I love, love, love that you're here, and have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys next Friday. Peace out. Bye.